Please come.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good
It's
morning.
afternoon, but we'll let it go.
Please sit down. Would you like to take off your mask? Because it's quite safe and we are quite far.
Okay.
Yes, we are not afraid of you. And are you afraid of us?
No, sir.
Yeah. You're from St. Stephen?
Yes, sir.
Were you in residence?
No, sir.
Day scholar?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How come you were a day scholar? Because you are not from Delhi?
Because there was a cutoff for residence, and the cutoff was, I think, 99.2 about that. So my percentage for best of 4 subjects was 97%. So I could.
That's why you couldn't. So you would live in a paying guest accommodation?
Yes, sir.
Where?
In Kamla Nagar.
Kamala Nagar. All right. Okay. You're fond of films.
Yes, sir.
Which is the latest film that you saw?
Chinatown, sir.
How was it?
It was great, sir.
Very good?
Yes,
This is
sir.
the Hollywood
Yes, sir.
Jack Nicholson.
Yes, sir.
Chinatown.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the one before that?
Memento, sir.
Also?
Memento.
Sorry, sir.
Memento.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Tell me one thing. You made it in the first attempt.
Yes, sir.
It's very creditable. And when you go to the board, you start with that much of a pole position advantage.
Yes, sir.
But then the bar is raised higher for you also.
Yes, sir.
You are expected to perform much better than the others who are coming here.
Yes, sir.
If I were to ask you the failures of Indian foreign policy in the past 5 years, would something come to your mind?
The first thing I can think of is that at the present moment in the conflict which is going on between Russia and Ukraine, I think India could have taken a much better position.
No, India's failure in foreign policy with so not in international peacekeeping. What India could have done as a global Vishwaguru in international relations, I am not interested in that.
Okay.
Can you specify, if you think there are,
Okay.
any major failures or faux pas in Indian foreign policy in the past 5 years? Let's be more generous. Since Mr. Modi took over, there's a great dynamism in Indian foreign policy.
Yes,
but would you find something which was not quite right for India's national interest? Or which has not been handled well enough to look after our national interest?
Yes, sir. The one thing which comes to my mind is the issues we are facing in the fishermen conflict with Sri Lanka. That could have been handled much better.
That would you call a failure? See, look, the point is when I ask you a question in such stark terms as failure, you do not have to accept the question at face value. You can say there are not failures, but there are glitches or something like that. But I leave it at that. I will shift ground a little. I will let Mr. Swaroop grill you more thoroughly on international relations.
Okay, sir.
I will shift only to the extent what to your mind are the greatest failures in India's economic policy in the past 5-6 years.
Excellent.
Economic policy, sir. The implementation of GST could have been a little
One.
Demonetization could have been done better.
Excellent.
These are the 2 major failures in economic policy that
So you support demonetization, but you think it was handled badly.
Yes, sir.
You support GST and you think it was handled badly.
It could have been planned better, yes, sir. It was handled badly, I would say that.
You would not think that there is flawed economic policy. No.
No, sir.
All right. What would you respond to? My last question to you.
Yes, sir.
If I say, could you point out 3 cases of crony capitalism or corruption legalized in the past 5 years?
Again, I would not say it is crony capitalism or corruption legalized, but at some places, for instance, in the privatization of some airports for development of passenger services and other services, that was seen to be without much stakeholder consultation. So I think that was a drawback in India's policy of privatization.
Electoral bonds would not come to your mind.
Yes, sir. Electoral bonds is also one more thing that I think should.
I will leave it at that. I'll pass it on to Mr. Swaroop.
Okay, Kartikeya, you've been following developments in Pakistan.
Yes, sir.
What is the latest?
The Supreme Court in Pakistan said that they are reinstalling the legislature which was dissolved by the Prime Minister of Pakistan, and they have said that the no confidence motion which was being passed against the Prime Minister will be reinstated and will be set in motion tomorrow.
What is the reason that since 1973 no Pakistan Prime Minister has served out his or her full tenure of 5 years?
I feel that in Pakistan, the power politics is such that their army chiefs have come to acquire so much power that they are able to control the tenures of prime minister, and they are able to keep or dismiss prime ministers as per their requirement. And
But
therefore,
technically, in terms of the constitution, it's the prime minister who appoints the army chief.
I understand that as per the constitution, it is the prime minister who appoints the army chief. But sometimes it happens that in Pakistan, the constitution is not kept supreme, and other forces take control of the power dynamics that are existing there.
No, but how did this state of affairs come into being?
I feel that the answer to that lies in the time right after Pakistan gained independence in 1947. After that, as far as I know, 6 governor generals appointed consecutive prime ministers and dismissed them within a span of 7 years. So I think that from there itself the process has started, in which there has been a shift of power politics between the president, prime minister and the army chief. So I think from those times itself, the ground for today's power dynamics in Pakistan was set.
And what did we in India do differently that we don't have this scenario where elected governments fall on through an external intervention? What did we in India do differently?
I feel that in India, constitution and popular mandate has been kept supreme as far as electoral politics is concerned, because in India, I do not remember even one case where the outgoing party was reluctant to leave power after losing
So
an
I'm
election.
asking you the reason. What did we do differently? I mean, we just had better army chiefs. Is that what you're saying?
No, sir. The consensus between political leaders and the people themselves, that constitution should be kept supreme, and people's mandate, which has been kept at the basis of India's democracy, that has been upheld in India, which was different from what.
But how? That's what I'm asking. You are giving a very surface answer. I'm asking you, what in practical terms did we do differently that the people's mandate has been kept supreme? After all, these are high-sounding words which every constitution aspires for.
In my opinion, the Election Commission of India has conducted the elections in such a free and fair manner that everybody has been able to exercise their mandate, and the elections have been very transparent, and the electoral politics itself has been accountable to the people.
So, Election Commission is the sole repository of good governance. I mean, good constitutional governance in India. Other wings have not contributed.
Not the sole contributor, but I would say one of the primary contributors, apart from judiciary, apart from the political executive and the legislature also.
And you forgot the media?
Yes, sir. Media is also the.
What is the role of media in safeguarding democracy?
Media, one, raises awareness among people regarding the candidates who are contesting in elections. They also propagate the election procedures which are important for people to know in terms of how to go about putting their mandate for the leaders. And also media is able to take the guidelines of the Election Commission to the people so that the elections are conducted in a free and fair manner.
When I asked you this question, I asked what is the role of the media in safeguarding democracy. You are seeming to answer that what is the role of media during elections.
Okay. Bringing truth to the fore is the primary role of media which it has played in safeguarding India's democracy. This is what I feel.
And is the media currently doing that job?
I feel that due to proliferation of different channels, for example in internet, many media outlets have come up who are now playing the role of news publishers without any veracity of news that they are publishing. So in that manner, there has been a decline in the accountability of media to the people. But I think by and large, media is able to perform the role of bringing truth to the fore, because still there are many media outlets which are doing the grassroots journalism and bringing the truth to the public.
Such as?
Such as The Hindu is one outlet, The Print is one outlet, and Reuters is also one outlet. So these are some outlets which are trying to bring grassroots journalism to the fore and bringing the truth to the people.
Reuters grassroots journalism.
As far as I know,
Reuters is a very reputed news agency, commercially run for hundreds of years. They were using pigeon carriers before the wire services were there. And you think it's a grassroots organization?
Yeah, Reuters is an international news organization like CNN, like BBC. Except that those are channels. This is a news supplier.
yes, sir. But in many reports that I read in newspapers, they say that this news has been sourced from a Reuters journalist. So I think that Reuters journalists in some ways are able to access
Yep,
news.
good point.
Kartikeya, I'm curious that you did your 10th in Madhya Pradesh and your 12th you did it from Andhra Pradesh.
Yes, ma'am.
How is it so?
Ma'am, because there are two reasons. One is that in my school, after 10th standard in higher secondary level, the level of infrastructure and faculty was not at par with what a quality education would require, because facilities like libraries and laboratories were not available.
But they were not available in the whole district?
No, they were available, but there comes the second reason, that my family and I have been devotees of Sri Satya Sai Baba right from my grandfather's generation. So my family was aware of the value-based integral education which was provided there. So my parents and I decided to go there and pursue my education.
You went to Puttaparthi
Yes, sir.
and you went to the school there.
Yes, sir. In my 11th and 12th standard.
And if I want you to compare the education which you received during those 2 years to whatever education you received over the years, what is the difference?
The major difference which I see is that the education which I received in my 11th and 12th standard in Puttaparthi was much more holistic than I had received till then, because it encompassed not only academics but also physical, spiritual and other service activities which I had not taken part in till then. So this was a new kind of exposure for me. And also I feel that the teachers and infrastructure which was lacking in my previous school was at a very high quality level in my second school. So that was...
With your permission.
Yeah,
Then
sure,
why
sir.
did you move from Puttaparthi, which is excellent, Sri Sat Sai Baba organized the higher education,
Yes.
move to a Christian missionary institution in Delhi with totally different values, evangelical, there is a dean, there is a rector, there is a church service.
Yes.
How could you move from that place to this, to a less holistic, shall I say, at the risk of being admonished, place?
Sir, I feel that in Sri Satya Sai educational system, for the interest of discipline and to avoid distraction of students, internet services and other extracurricular activities at a higher education level after school is restricted to a very limited level. So my parents and I took a decision that if I want to get exposure to the real life instances of dealing with situations in which we might get caught when we go out of our education, therefore it is necessary that I step out of the cocoon I had been in those 2 years and deal with real life situations, because in Delhi I got an entirely new exposure which I could not get there.
I'm a little confused. If you say holistic education, then you say cocoon. The two are oxymoronish kind of statements, but I'll leave it at that.
So I think that's enough food for thought for you for your answers that
Sure.
way. I'll take forward the conversation regarding your hobby. You teach underprivileged children.
Yes.
Now your subject is mathematics.
Yes, ma'am.
My two questions to you. My first question to you is that I often wonder that in our education system, why do I need to memorize theorems? Why do I need to, mathematics is just simple plain plus minus multiplication division. That I think that's all the daily purpose of why should I study mathematics. Why do I have to study theorems? What is the relevance of studying those theorems now for me? Is there any relevance of studying those mathematical theorems?
In my opinion, the mathematical theorems which we study in pure mathematics are not just limited to those theorems and proofs. They are there to increase our logical reasoning, to bring in a habit of critical analysis in our thought process, so that whenever we take any decision, be it in mathematics or otherwise, we are able to apply those problem solving techniques and techniques of rational thinking to reach at a reasoned judgment. So that is the main importance of mathematics, for which it has been taught since the beginning of our educational system, and also that is the most interesting thing for me to pursue mathematics.
So tell me, what is your rationality behind becoming a civil servant? I just want a pure rational answer.
Ma'am, there are three major reasons. One is that while participating in different social service activities at my school and college level, I have felt that public service is an activity which gives me the maximum amount of self-satisfaction, and civil services give me the opportunity to serve people to the best of my ability and help them. Secondly, I feel that the trust my teachers put in my leadership capabilities when they appointed me the school captain in 12th standard coupled with my subsequent training in a discipline which teaches me the rigors of critical analysis, give me confidence that I can hold positions of leadership and those which require objectivity in civil services. And thirdly, the diversity of activities I participated in my college level was really the essence of my college life. So this is the diversity which civil services also offer me, and these are the primary reasons.
Okay, I had particularly asked for rational choice. Why? What was a rational reason? Because you told that you have studied mathematics, and for arriving at anything, you actually check out what is the rationale for
Yes,
it.
yes, ma'am.
So, anyways, now coming back to your same hobby, teaching underprivileged children. Now, during the COVID times, we have seen that most of these children have been left behind.
Yes.
Have you taught any of the underprivileged children in the past? Just in the last 2 years?
No, ma'am, not in the last 2 years. I took up this project in the second and third year of my college, and it was under the Social Service League Society in our college, through which I got to the Vidya Jyoti project, in which I taught underprivileged children.
So, what have been your key takeaways?
I would say my key takeaways would be that first, given the resources and opportunities to pursue the type of education that people and especially children aspire for, every child has the potential to shine. Also, I feel that I, in this project, had to visit an under-resourced community in Guru Tegh Bahadur Nagar, which was near our college. So, in that way, I could get a first-hand experience of the struggle which these children had to go through because of their abject poverty. So, I could develop the quality of empathy in myself by getting a first-hand experience of the lives these people lived.
Okay, you belong to Madhya Pradesh. Just one, since last 2 days it has been in news regarding some police station
Yes.
incident. What are your views about the same?
According to the information that I have, the police station incident was that a group of people, including a journalist, were stripped, were made to take off their clothes and were investigated in a police station. So I think this was a gross violation of human dignity and human rights, and for the purpose of investigation, the police officers should not have taken this way. They could also just make the group of people sit at a place and interrogate them.
What are your views about then the new CRPC amendment, the identification bill?
In my opinion, one, there needs to be a clarity in the terms which have been used in the legislation. For instance, some places have used biological samples and physical samples, and a term analysis has been used, which has not been clearly mentioned as to what that analysis means. A word etc. has been used. So these terms have not been clarified fully. So there is a need for better clarification of terms. And also concerns have been raised not only regarding the rights, fundamental rights of citizens under Article 20, but also the right to be forgotten, which is being envisaged by the government under the new data protection law. That is also at risk because if the data is being stored for 75 years, there is little chance for a person to apply to an authority to remove that data. So I think these are some of the places which need to be rectified in the bill.
But the bill has already been passed by the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha. And let's say tomorrow, if you're posted in police service, you will be bound to go by the bill. So what will you do in that scenario? My last question to you.
It would be my duty as a police officer to implement the law which has been legally passed by the legislature, and I will abide by the word of the law and apply it in word and spirit. But this was just my opinion that some rectifications needed to be made. I understand that it has been passed, but these were some things which I thought.
But you can at least try that it will not be misused.
Yes,
Right?
that I can.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I think you are very good. The only trouble is that you again are taking pauses to think through a question,
Okay.
which I don't think needs this much introspection and so on. And you are, I must confess that you are given two absolutely most difficult questions for a would-be civil servant. You are supposed to not come out harshly, but you are not as yet a civil servant, and you have a mind of your own. So, as an Indian citizen, if you exercise your fundamental rights, freedom of expression of your opinion, which is not violent, instigating violence, I think if one is asked to comment on failures, either in foreign policy or in economic field, there should be a way of, not getting into a trance, but sort of responding as honestly as you can, without being abrasive, without being aggressive. And as I tried suggesting to you, say, I don't think failure is a rather strong word. We could
Sure.
talk of something else. I'll leave it at that. When is your interview?
19th May, sir.
Karthik, you are very good, no doubt. Two things which we advise everyone, and will advise you also. But before I come to that, you said you teach underprivileged privileged children, and you went through the social service league.
Yes, sir.
So in Delhi or somewhere else?
In Delhi, in college. In
And
college.
how many days did you spend on this activity?
This project was 2 year long for me, and once in a week I had to visit the community.
Once a week?
Yes.
And how many children were there when you visited them?
Every volunteer was assigned one child.
Oh, one child was
Yes.
assigned to you. So you were assigned one child for 2 years.
One was in second year, and another girl was assigned to me in third year.
But which class was the girl studying?
Both of them were in 9th standard.
9th standard.
Yes.
And were you able to improve their performance?
I tried my best. I tried to use some new techniques to teach them the concepts which they were not understanding. But unfortunately, the boy whom I taught in my second year of college, he dropped his education because that was his second attempt in 9th standard. And he could not pass that class. So,
Have you heard of Khan sir?
actually, I
The
have
famous
heard.
teacher from Bihar who teaches every subject under the sun, but so interestingly, he's become a phenomenon and he has become a man of $2 million.
I heard about him during the railway recruitment protests which happened. So during that time in news, I saw Khan sir was taking the news headlines, but I do not know much about him.
Because if you had heard about him earlier, maybe you would have changed your teaching style with these two children.
Okay.
So
Thank you,
two
sir.
things you should do, take out your DAF and read it thoroughly,
Sure, sir.
and try and anticipate as many questions you can out of it.
Sure, sir.
Say maybe 100,
Sure, sir.
right? Every word can lead you to 10 questions.
Sure, sir.
Okay. And which is your newspaper?
I am reading The Hindu and Indian Express.
Indian Express. These are the two best papers. Do you take notes from them?
Yes, sir. I have
Mental
started.
notes or diary?
I write on A4 sheets the 4 to 5 key points from an important news
From an
article.
important. Every day?
Yes, sir.
Did you write any notes yesterday?
Yes, sir.
What were they? Would you remember?
About this criminal amendment bill only.
Yes.
So that notes I made yesterday.
And this was the suggestion that people's right to be forgotten will be compromised. This was in an editorial, or this is your own thought, or where did you find this point?
This I thought on myself, but the other points of Article 23 and the clarification of terms was suggested by the newspaper also.
This is by the newspaper. So, in any case, you are doing what I was going to suggest to you, that every day at least 5 items you should pick
Sure,
up.
Sure.
And do you have any questions?
Actually, I have. Can
You
I?
will wear a suit, won't you?
Yes, sir. Yes. Sir.
And you will shave that day without
sir.
fail.
Yes,
Yes. Okay.
Was I crisp in my answers?
You were crisp, but I don't know.
Not in every answer.
Not in every answer, and I personally was disconcerted. When a difficult question was asked to you, you suddenly sort of went into a trance-like situation.
And
And
I
it,
found him to be glib.
pretty grim, and it was
Glib.
much-
Glib.
glib, yes, when you came to that glib.
Okay.
And I also am a little upset is not probably the right word,
Okay.
when there are enough contradictions. The whole family migrates from
What
one
was the
place
real
to
reason? Actually, I'm curious.
No, actually, the family did not migrate. I went to study there, and then I came to study in Delhi.
No, but what was the real reason?
This was the real
The real
reason.
reason
actually.
was
Yes,
this only.
Yes.
Then you should at least be careful with your words, because first at times
You brought in your grandfather.
Impression we all got was that you moved with the family.
Okay. No.
That's what the impression created was.
Okay.
You went into your grandfather, you went into your parents, you said we decided to go to Andhra because she categorically asked you. And then it did not fit in with shifting back to the evangelical
Then
missionary
Delhi.
school.
Okay. Okay.
Are you the only child?
No, I have a younger sister.
Because I got the impression the whole family is moving with you, that you must be the only child and everyone dotes on you. That is the impression I got.
No, no. Only I went there to study, and I came here to study.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, so these two things. So, and of course, will you be wearing a suit?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and a white shirt.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He's already wearing white shirt.
This is not white, this is off white. Is it a white?
It's white.
White is that? White
That's
hair.
White.
White hair.
No.
Okay.
मुझे
and
off-white लग रही है।
hair.
No, hair, etc. is all right. I'm worried about the substance.
Okay.
You know, this is not a beauty contest. It's a test of your personality. You are a very presentable person.
Okay.
But I think there are some, you know, you have enough time.
Yes.
Please follow the advice.
Sure.
Try not to be glib. Try not to come out with answers which you think incriminate you because you have criticized the government. You can't play that safe. Not
So how can I rectify this, that when a difficult question is asked and some kind of analysis is required, how can I come up with a good answer?
your holistic education so far and tranquility of mind and the spiritual value should come to your rescue. There is an old Sanskrit verse which says, Rakshante punyani pura kritani. Those punyas performed earlier and past save you from a forest fire, save you from a mountain precipice
No,
fall.
the trouble started when you actually, when I asked you, when the sir asked you, that was naturally my line of question also.
Okay.
So that time when you said it was a cocoon, so
Okay,
you're
so I
contradicting
should be-
yourself.
Sure.
Cocoon actually came as a shock to all of us.
Okay.
Here you were
I should not have
appreciating
used
the
that word.
teaching style and suddenly you say you are in a cocoon.
Sure.
Similarly, when I asked you about what we did differently, the first thing that should have come to your mind, institution building.
Sure.
That we built institutions with checks and balances which could withstand the test of time, and Pakistan failed to build those institutions because the army intervened very quickly.
Yes.
You know, that is the real reason.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
Good luck
Thank
to you.
All the best.
Thank you.
And have some energy, Kartike. You are so young. I'm.
Yeah,
You're not bringing that energy to the board. Which board would be expecting? Don't dance or something like that.
Short of that.
Let me see the length of your tie, just lower the hand. Stand straight, yeah. It's touching the belt, it's fine. It should be touching the belt.
And should I smile a little less?
No, your
Smile
smile
is
was
all
fine.
fine.
No,
And
smile
eye
was fine.
contact?
No, they're fine.
Smile, eye contact, they are not really important.
Okay.
What is important is the substance.
Sure.
Yeah, there was no problem. If there was any issue,
And
we
if you
would
say
have
why you are being grilled like this is that you, as I
You
told
have
you to
great
begin
potential.
with, the bar will be higher for you. Period.
Already the board will, I think, considering your DAV, they'll be thinking around 175 plus. But then it is you who have to take either more up, like towards 200 or towards to down. So next 10-15 minutes will decide that. So you're already having an advantage. Please have self-belief in yourself.
Sure.
That's what
Thank
you
you.
want. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.